iConz of Rock presents.
Here we are back with Neil Merryweather, and I just learned something in our little break here, which I thought I'd researched everything about this fabulous man, but you cut the demo. Is this true? No, is this true, or are you winding me up? You cut the demo of Billy Joel's Piano Man?
Yes.
Yes, it's true, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed true. Tell me the story. My goodness.
Well, Billy and I were signed to this Artie Rip guy's company called Family Productions. I had a group called Mama Lion, and which featured James Newton Howard, but that's another
story. The
story.
Naughty album cover.
Yeah, and Billy, I really liked Billy. I thought Billy was the actually most talented act that was signed to that company at the time, and he got screwed over like we did, in a way that there was a little blackmail kind of technique going on there.
Rock and roll?
Yes.
Screwed over?
Yes.
Say it's not possible.
It's possible. Anyway, we were ready to go to Europe one time, and all excited about playing at the hotel, the Palace Hotel in Zermatt, in Montreux.
Montreux, yeah.
And then go on to Zermatt and play under the Matterhorn at the Hotel Post and the Catacombs thing. So we get to the airport, and everything's loaded on the plane, and Artie Rip's henchman, Frank Day, comes over to us and says, Artie says not to give you the tickets unless you sign this management contract.
Oh, well, I'm so shocked to hear
So
that.
the band took a vote, and of course they did, and I did. That same thing happened to Billy Joel with his manager, Erwin Mazer. When Billy was out on a little tour, Mazer was set up in an office at Family Production. He was given a amount of money to sustain his wife and kid and had to rent a house. And Artie then just cut all funding to him. Because one day he came up to me, he's crying, he didn't have a cake or could get his kid a gift for his birthday. And you know, I helped him out, but that's not the story. But the story is that what happened to Erwin caused him to eventually sign over more stuff to Artie. So Billy comes off the road and freaks out to know that Artie owns more of his publishing or his management or whatever the deal was. And prior to that, Billy was already getting, you know, not into the whole scene because Artie produced his first album and for some reason sped the whole master up. And Billy came out sounding like Mickey Mouse sounding, and he hated it. So he already had a thorn in his side as far as Artie Rip went. So he just like split. He left, and he went into hiding with Sandy and Kip Gibson in Tuna Canyon at their house. They put him up. They're from New York. They were writers, and they knew Billy, and they put him up. So one day I get a call from Sandy. Billy wants you to come over. We're going to have dinner, and you know, he wants to play you for some new things. So I go to their house. We have dinner, and he plays me some nice things and stuff. And he was at that point playing as Billy Martin in this little club,
I heard about that,
little bar in downtown LA. So I was in this little studio in Hollywood doing demos, and I said, Billy, you should just come by, man. So he came by at 2 o'clock in the morning because we work late, and he came in after his bar gig, and he played on a couple of my things. We actually covered Neil Young's Heart of Gold. I just we jammed it, and Billy played piano and organ on it. It was fantastic. Sang some harmony on it, and we did one of my things. And then he said to me, I just wrote this thing. I think it's the best thing I've written, you know. And I said, well, let's just cut it. I said, let's just do it. So we set up the grand piano, mic'd it all up, and he put his harmonica on, and we mic'd him up, and he did Piano Man in one take, and it was brilliant. I mean, it was just like the other musicians and my friends were there. It was just mind-blowing. And I said, here, take the tape. I gave him the 8-track, and I gave him a 2-track mix. Now, at that point in his career, he was being signed to Columbia by what's his... the famous guy. Arista.
Oh, Clive Davis.
Clive Davis was one of Billy's.
That's right.
It was Billy's entry into a real good deal. But Clive got ousted out of, he left the label because of that whole cocaine payola scandal to black radio stations thing that happened. It actually made Clive, because he became like a folk hero with the hippie set, and you know, and he did a bunch of touring and speaking about the music industry. Because of that, he had kind of like a rebel image, and he went out there and took advantage of it. But him leaving meant that Billy's deal was no more.
Have a friend inside.
Right. So the new regime came in, and they were just going to scrap anything Clive had set into motion. And Billy's manager took that 2-track tape we did of Piano Man in and played it, and they flipped out like we flipped out.
Of course.
And the whole deal was put together, and Billy went on from there to be who Billy is and write such amazing stuff. But
a friend of ours, back to the small story, Michael Cavanaugh, that we met in a piano bar in Las Vegas in New York. We used to go see him. He was friends of ours. And he wound up, Max, who's Billy's current manager, and Billy were in Vegas, and they'd heard about this guy who was just incredible in the dueling piano bar. And they picked up our friend Michael Cavanaugh and took him to Broadway, where he started moving out for years and years. And he has just had Billy play on some of his stuff. So, you know, it's kind of a big family, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it is. Billy's first Grammy was as a musician. You know, he won as a keyboard player, which he is incredible keyboard player.
He's one of those rare, you know.
Yeah, and you know that he opened for the Beatles at Shea Stadium.
I know that.
Yeah, and it was a fluke. He wasn't supposed to, but Erwin Mazer conned the back gate guys and got him on stage.
I didn't know how that happened, but I knew it was true.
Yeah, Mazer did some amazing things as a manager, you know. I know all kinds of stories about Billy, but
maybe
the main story is that I was there at a key moment. I mean, it's not to say that he wouldn't cut it down the line sometime, but it was right as the label was prime.
Well, it's quite an honor, though, to be able to have on your resume that you did that.
I got to find those tapes he played on of mine, because he played some great stuff.
Yeah, you do.
And you know, it was just one of those things.
You've had quite some sidemen, Merryweather.
Yeah.